So then I'd be ready to move on to image 2. And I've already gone through and done the rotating and cropping and all of that. So I'm just walking through and showing you the aspects that you would need to change for each of these images that we haven't learned how to do yet. So I'm going to bounce over to image 2. So like I said, I've already done the rotation and crop and all that. So on the assignment description, this is where it changes. For image 2, we're gearing this as if it were for a copy printer. So it says to resize the image to 7 inches on the longest side, which this is a horizontal image. So the longest side is the width, and then at a resolution of 180. So I'm going to go up to image, image size, and follow my resizing workflow. So first thing, check resolution. Do you need to change it? Yes. Uncheck resample, change the resolution to 180, recheck resample, change your measuring units if needed. We need inches, so we're good. And then on our longest side, which we already determined is width, I need to go 7 inches. And then hit OK. And I'm ready for my output file. The assignment description says to output this as a TIFF file. So I'm going to go up to File, Save As, and it says to keep the image to name in, I'm going to put it in the project folder I already created, and format TIFF, include layers, embed color profile, and save. TIFF options, it says in parentheses on the assignment description, no compression. So I just check here, compression, none. I hit OK. Then on image 3, one thing I noticed that's different than image 1 and 2 is I have text, and that text is not reading correctly. So I need to do something we haven't learned yet. I need to flip the canvas. So I go up to Edit, Transform, and at the bottom of the list, I have flip horizontal or vertical. If you want to flip up and down, that's vertical. If you want to flip left and right, that's horizontal. We need horizontal. Now that it reads correctly, this image would be ready to resize. The assignment description says for this one, you're gearing it towards a standard display and the image is for the web. So I need to resize it to 1200 pixels on the longest side, which this is a vertical image, so the longest side is height, at a resolution of 72. So I go to image, image size, check my resolution. Do I need to change it? Yes. Uncheck resample, change my resolution to 72, recheck resample, check my measuring units, inches, I need pixels. Longest side is height, and I can see here, when I change it to 1200, I'm actually increasing the file size slightly. And we're doing it just to show you the different ways that you could resize an image. Make it bigger or smaller, just depends. And I hit OK, and it's ready to export its output file. So far, we've been using Save As because we were saving as a Photoshop and a TIFF file. Now this one we're saving as a JPEG, and in a minute we'll save as a PNG. With those output files, along with GIFs, you don't use Save. The better option is Export. So I'm going to go up to File, Export, Export As. In this box, first thing I check is Format, and the assignment description does say JPEG, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that JPEG. If it wasn't already JPEG, I can drop down that menu and choose. Then all this I can skip. We've already done all that, but under color space, I do want to make sure that both convert to sRGB and embed color profile are checked. We're converting to sRGB because this is for the web, and that is the color space of the web. So I would then export, save the name, put it in my project folder, and save. Once you get to image 4, again, there's text in the image. You need to flip it. So I go to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal. It's ready to resize. The assignment description says 1200 on the longest side, 1200 pixels on the longest side. Longest side, this is a horizontal image, so it's width. And at a resolution of 220 for a high-res or retina display. So I go up to Image, Image Size, check my resolution. Do I need to change it? Yes. And this is a very good example of why we do that. I have 2.77 megabytes to work with. And I right now have a resolution that's really low. I need it bigger than that. So if I uncheck resample, change my resolution to 220, it changes my size and I still can stay in that larger file size. I then recheck resample and I can change my inches. I first need to change it to pixels for the web. And then I am going to do my longest side, which is width for this horizontal image, 1200 pixels, and okay. Then I'm ready to export this as a PNG. So File, Export, Export As, Format, PNG, under Color Space, Convert to sRGB, and Embed Color Profile, and Export. Image 4 in my project folder, and save. Once I'm finished with the assignment, I come back out here and I check. I should have a total of 8 files, 4 working and 4 output files in my project folder, which I have named correctly before compressing it. Make sure you name that folder correctly now before you compress it, if it's not already named correctly. So correctly meaning your last name, first initial, and then the project number, whatever number that is for your class that you're in. All right, then when you're ready to compress, out in the Finder, you can go to File from the top menu and choose Compress. Or you can hover on the folder and do a right click, or on the keyboard, hold Control and click and choose Compress from this menu. You go ahead and give it a second. Once it's entirely compressed, take that compressed file and just turn it in on D2L.